Welcome to Krista Spiritual Talks. Today I'm excited to introduce Charlene Sear. She's a psychic medium and healer. You're in Alberta today, aren't you?
I am.
How is it up there in Alberta?
Well, it's cloudy, a little windy, um, but I do know that that sun is behind those clouds, so we're waiting for that to come forward, and it will. It
Yeah,
will.
same here in Washington State, cloudy, rainy, and 50 degrees. So
Yeah.
I was reading through your website, and it looks like in 2020 that you moved into doing this healing work. Can you kind of give the audience an idea what you were doing before that? What motivated you? Because you do this full time, right?
I do now. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you, Krista, for having me on with your spiritual talks, and I appreciate it. Um, yeah, and I'm a homegrown country girl that have lived, I think, a pretty basic life that many could resonate with. I mean, grew up with my parents, went to college, started working, got married, started a family, the typical general
Mhm.
the family go dynamics. And so through before 2020, I mean, I was working corporate job, which I loved and didn't love all at the same time. And so I learned a great deal, of course, but at the end of the day, I knew it was not my passion by any means. Prior to that corporate job, I've lived always a very healthy lifestyle as society would understand it to be. I was a fitness buff. I was a personal trainer prior. I taught every fitness class that you could think of. That was back then. You got your step aerobics, floor aerobics, spin classes, Taibo at the time. Lots of that. I mean, fitness was my passion, and I was also a massage therapist. So with all of that, my whole life was surrounded by and all about health. It was my biggest passion. I loved it. It was what I enjoyed the most. However, it really wasn't paying the bills. So when my husband and I needed to um, build a home and build it for our family, I needed to leave that a little bit and go to where I could make money in a corporate organization. So that's where that transition started there. In 2020, however, um, I mean, I had been working in the corporate organization for about 17 years. And through that time, I was experiencing a lot of medical issues pretty much almost all my life, really, at the end of the day. But as I turned certain age at 40, it seemed to be that my body, I was losing control of what was happening with my own body. So in 2020, I felt like I was kind of hitting rock bottom. I had been searching for the last 10 years, truly trying to understand and find answers to why things were happening from my body. I mean, I knew how to feed it, I knew the nutrition, I knew the exercise, I knew how to be healthy, but everything I was doing, there was no results. So I just kept getting, surgery after surgeries,
Oh, wow.
medical problems after chronic fatigue, and nobody could give me answers. So I was searching externally for all of these answers. Every doctor, going from one doctor to another specialist, every modality that I could find and was shared with me, or what I knew about supplements. I mean, I spent thousands and thousands of dollars trying to figure out how to help myself because I was getting no answers anywhere. I've had insomnia, I chronic fatigue, thyroid issues. I mean, everything after everything, surgery after surgery, removal of gallbladders, removal of so many things. It's like I have no more organs left in my body, but I do. I mean, but that was just I could not understand how to help myself. And I knew that there were answers. I just could not find them. Um, anyway, in 2020, I just for kicks and giggles, I went to a medium. My sister was going to them. So I said, oh, well, I'll try one. Okay. I went to this medium. Of course, it was over phone because during COVID. But at the end of our little session, she had mentioned to me, she goes, they keep telling me you have a gift, you have a gift to share with the world. And really, that meant nothing to me because I go, I don't have, what are you talking about? I don't have a gift to share with the world. I'm just this normal, plain Jane woman that I don't have anything to share with this world outside of my family.
Mm-hmm.
And really, at the end of the day, I ignored it. I ignored what was being shared with me because I just didn't understand it and I didn't know. Um, so really that's where it all started for me because then because she kept saying, maybe go look at some psychic books. Go do a little bit of research, go see, because she couldn't give me any more details than that. So to me, I'm going, and I am a skeptic. So I was just going, I just kind of brushed it off. That's really
Right.
what I did. And then slowly and slowly, I kept seeing synchronicities. There was signs that just kept leading me into a different direction. So I followed. I just followed them, and that's what kind of brought me here. This is where I I learned. I became I learned that I had these gifts that I didn't know I had. But hindsight, you go, oh, that's why that makes sense now. Or you look back going, oh, that's the reason why I used to have all these things happen in my life, but I really honestly thought it happened to everybody. And I honestly thought when I saw energy around people, I thought everybody saw the same thing. I normalized everything. When my, when my grandparents passed and they came to me, I thought it because I've heard things like that out in the world. It
Right.
happens to everybody. So I never I never clued in. And when I saw things, you know, other things, and I shared them with others that, hey, I saw this, and they just looked at me funny. That's when I just kind of kept things to myself too at the same time. So really, I had nobody to talk to about it or to share with or to have a mentor or anybody guide me. I didn't know anybody that I didn't know a psychic in my life. I had no mediums in my life except for the one that gave me a reading.
Right.
So that's kind of where it started for me.
And that can be really disorientating. So from 2020, from when that spark happened for you, how long did it take before you really started tying it together? Because you do this full time now, and that's really not a long period of time in between.
Yeah, it went fast for me. I feel like they were giving me a kick in the pants in truth, because I
Uh-huh.
feel like they've been giving me signs for years and years and years, and I've ignored them. I
Mhm.
didn't I didn't realize that they were signs. You hear these things out in the world, but you never think it's related to you.
Right.
I just never applied it to myself, and that's where my first mistake went. But I forgave myself over that. I just didn't know. I just was never surrounded by uh, much of it in my life,
Right.
so it just never occurred to me. But yeah, it moved very very quickly. As soon as the acknowledgement and awareness came for me, it moved very quickly. All these synchronicities really lined up, and I started my healing journey. I started like as soon as I understood and I knew. I mean, I've been receiving messages all my life. I just didn't know that that's what they were. So
Right.
when I would meet people, I would know a lot about people. People used to always say, oh, "You're such a good judge of character, Charlene," or "Yeah, you sure know about you just didn't you don't know where it's coming from." So I just blew it all off. I
Mhm.
really truly didn't understand myself at that time, but now it is very clear. Now I'm going, oh, this makes more sense. I understand why I know something about somebody that I shouldn't know, or I understand why somebody's feeling somebody, or I'm going, oh, wow, I could truly feel what people were feeling and I could relate to them and understand. exactly where it's coming from and why they are behaving the way that they're behaving, or what their intentions were behind what they were doing. So I was always very quite guarded around others because I knew either somebody was either lying to me or not. But how do you prove that? I didn't know that.
Especially if you
So
don't understand it. Yeah.
yeah, so it moved quickly, very quickly for me.
So you were having a lot of health issues and then
Yes.
the awakening. How is your health now?
Oh, I feel great. I no longer am fatigued. I no longer have to have a nap, one or two naps in a day to get me through my day.
Hmm.
I sleep now at night, and I have the energy, and I don't need coffee. I it is I keep learning more and more about myself. That is, I really thought I was I really truly did think I knew who I was and a lot about myself, but in actuality, I didn't. I
Hmm.
really didn't, because in all honesty, I was looking at myself through all of these filters of all of these limiting beliefs, all of these traumas, all of these wounds, all of these things that have happened in my life. That's how I was seeing myself and the world.
Hmm.
And what the biggest thing I learned, one of the biggest, I learned a lot of aha moments. It was crazy. But one of the things that I really, really learned was I have always been a big self reflector. All my life, I have always self reflected.
Hmm.
Now, what that means is what I used to do as self reflection is entirely different than now what I do as self reflection. What I used to do and what I thought was correct was, when I was doing self reflection, I wasn't reflecting on the environment or the things that are around me. I was looking at myself going, you could do better. Why didn't you do this? Or you should have
Hmm.
done this. Or so I was really more critical. I was self reflecting, critical at myself, going, how do I improve? How do I get better? And I would read all tons of books about self improvement all the time. But it was really, what it was doing is really, I mean, I was negative talking to myself all the time.
Get what you're
I
saying.
didn't,
Yeah.
yeah, like I was just kept saying, I was coming from a place of lack
Hmm.
all the time, because I kept thinking I can do better. I know I can do better. We're here to improve. We're here to improve. So I
Right.
was looking at myself that I was not good enough ever. And I always needed to improve, 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 improve. And that's what my self-reflection was all about. Like when you self-reflect about, oh, I didn't like how that conversation went. I didn't look at myself and go, gee, how were you feeling? Or hey, you tried your best, or you'd never looked at yourself in that way. I always looked at myself, oh, I shouldn't have said that, or I didn't say that well, that didn't come across
But
well, or
don't you think that's the indoctrination of media and all that that's put out? So you broke
we
through.
don't know any better,
Yeah.
right? Like that's how I learned. And
Yeah.
we learned from our generational parenting and the society in general. So society is framing how we do things. And that's the changes that need to probably occur in our society, is learning to look at, like, I've heard lots of people talk about, oh, self-love, you need to learn to love yourself. Well, how do you do that? Like,
Hmm.
so I feel words are very powerful. They are,
Hmm.
until they're not. They really are. I mean, as soon as it resonates with you, now they've got some power for you, whether that's negative or positive, right? But if they're just words out there, when somebody says, "Oh, do self love or do self care," and you don't understand what that means, like really understand what that means, it
So it
means
sounds
nothing
like
to
you're
you.
kind of teaching people to, because until you experience it, you don't understand it. Is that what you're saying? Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, yeah. Like I used to think that I had a lot of courage. I mean, and I do, but it was always pushed from behind of a lack. position.
Mhm.
I need to have courage to do this. But really, it's coming from a place that is not healthy for me. So, what I learned through my journey is truly, and when you talk about journey, it really is a journey in the sense that you keep learning at different stages and you learn something new and every time. And so being a psychic and a medium, my guides were truly guiding me through this process because I feel like this process is lacking. I feel like people just don't know how to do the how, right? And people will talk at very high levels. Oh, do self-care, but people in general, and when you talk about society, thinking people have knowledge about understanding what self-care is, they think, oh, let's go for a massage. Let's, if we talk about women, oh, let's go for a massage. And I'm not saying that's bad. I'm just saying that there's more to self-care than just taking a relaxing day, a relaxing bubble bath. Um, because you could do all those things and still not be relaxing. You could do all of those wonderful feel good things and still not be dealing with the actual root causes of medical issues and or stress related issues and or like everything under the sun, in all honesty. Because really at the end of the day, I did those things. I did think that self-care was those things. I used to go for a massage regularly. I would go with my girlfriends and have a good time. I would go get my nails done or my toes done. Not that I do that often, but
Mhm.
those were the special moments of a spa day. But really, that's not what provided healing for me.
So
That didn't provide healing.
if you're comfortable sharing, what was your journey of healing? Like, what was the root cause?
Um, Past traumas
Mm-hmm.
and limiting beliefs
Mm-hmm.
and self-imposed limiting beliefs. And really, at the end of the day, we all have traumas. Now, I know when people hear the word trauma, it might trigger people into different judgments or different belief of what that means. But really, the way that I use the word trauma, and most people use the word trauma, is anything that affects you,
Mm-hmm.
anything that affects you. So you could be witnessing something
Mm-hmm.
and that affects you.
This is true.
Anything that brings forward there's emotions or a thought pattern, something that comes forward and affects you that then now affects how you think, behave, see the world. That is those traumas. So people could say there's little traumas, there's medium traumas, there's big traumas. And I know in my life, even though I lived a typical general happy life, I still believe I've had a very good life in general. However, I have had a lot of traumas in my life, just like everybody else in this world. And I had some significant, bigger traumas in when I was a child that moved me into even having more further traumas in my life going forward, right? So they compile on top of each other. And we all know the medical field, everybody knows that 90, like there's, I don't know what the percentage is, but stress causes, illnesses in our body. But what is stress? That's what people just say, it's stress, but really it's all your traumas built up in your body. Your body is what mm, gives you an indication that
Mhm.
something is wrong. And we've got to learn to listen to our body. Now, learning to listen to your body, me just saying that general statement means nothing. Really, you got to listen to your body. Well, how do you listen to your body? That's what I help teach people, how to listen to their body. I teach people how to identify traumas in their life.
Mhm.
And with my gifts, with my abilities, I'm able to help them pinpoint exactly where and when. And we come back to understanding what those traumas are, because some are so little. Somebody saying something to you could potentially affect you. So it doesn't have to be this big trauma, but these little ones compile as well on top of it.
Hmm.
And that's kind of what I have learned. And limiting beliefs come to you through how you were raised, your peers, who was all around you at the time as you were growing up, society, where you are within the society and what society believed at that time and how you lived your life, basically, right? Those are those limiting beliefs of how you see yourself, how you see your the people around you, how you behave going forward.
So it sounds like you're using your gifts of being a psychic, a medium, and a healer to go deeper of what's really causing the root cause,
Yeah.
um, and helping
Yeah.
empower people that way. Yeah.
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 Because I want people to be able to do these things for themselves. Like I feel very blessed and very fortunate that I was guided through this journey.
Hmm.
And the aha moments that came to me that really, like, we all deserve to be authentic. We all deserve to be truly who we are, but guaranteed most of us are not. We are not being our authentic selves. And the reason why, for one, we don't even know what that who we are
Hmm.
half the time. We have been guided, and we've learned how to mask truly who we are. And so we all behave, or we all communicate in a different way to certain people and certain groups, or
Hmm.
we are really monitoring who we are based on our environment around us. So, what I had to learn truly was to be okay with myself, love myself for who I am. But before I did that, I had to know who I was and how I was shaped.
Hmm.
How was I shaped in my life? I had to understand what was real and what wasn't, meaning what was my truth to my authentic self and what wasn't. And I also had to learn going, what did I learn from that trauma? Did
Hmm.
I learn and take away from that trauma something that does not serve me well? Like you hear out there a general comment all the time, oh, I put up blocks around me because I've been hurt so much, right? Whether that's relationships or everything and anything, people will put up blocks, they'll put up those walls. Well, that in itself, you have learned something from that event and that memory and that situation. And really, you putting up the walls, it's really not serving you, but it's what you learned to do. And so now, when you figure these things out and we go through the process, you're able to actually look and now and see and decide, is that still true for me? Is that still what I want to go? Is this like, is there a silver lining? Because we are still in a society where people will point fingers at the other. You did this to me. You
Right.
did this to me. Um, where we are always, we can only control ourselves. We can only control our thoughts, our own emotions, and how we behave. We can't control others around us. Now, doesn't mean we don't always try. I think in humans, we always try. Like when I first married my husband, of course, I always tried I used to look at him and go, look what you're doing to me. You're not being very nice to me. Why are you talking to me like that? And I would internalize it, and it would hurt me, and it would hurt me. But at the end of the, and he's a lovely man, just please don't take that, but this is a regular general
Yeah.
man and woman kind of conversation that typically happens in a marriage and a relationship. But at the end of the day, um, I have control of how I feel and how I respond, and I'm responsible for me 100%. So I'm responsible on how I react and what I take from that situation, and my attitude and my thoughts about those things that are occurring around me. I'm responsible. So where we tend to lean in our society is the exact opposite. We're
Right.
always looking at what others are doing to us and how it is making us feel, where we need to look within and go, okay, So if that person is making me feel that way, why am I feeling that way? Now let me look and understand me as
Right.
to why I am feeling that way.
A,
And
yeah, a key
yeah,
point in human evolution is when you move away from that victimization into
yeah,
empowerment. Yeah, huge.
yeah, it is a big one. It is a big one. And it's hard to do. It prior to me going through this journey, I know I couldn't have done that. Because I wouldn't even known what questions to ask. I wouldn't have known how to even walk through this journey without the guidance of my guides. I wouldn't, because there is so much information out there. There is great, wonderful information, but I'm kind of that linear kind of girl. I want the what's the first step? What's the second step? What am I supposed to feel? Like when somebody says tune in, or when somebody says the word relax, if that's not something that you know how to do, it, how do you do it?
It could just make you frustrated. Yeah.
Yeah, like when my husband used to say, "Oh, Charlene, just relax," I'm going, "Oh, that is the wrong word
Not
you say to
working.
me." I mean, it doesn't bother me now, but that was a trigger for me.
Yeah.
And really, at the end of the day, people can tell me now, "Go, Charlene, go relax," and I'll go, oh, "Okay, yeah, good, I'll go do that."
Yeah.
But I didn't know, for one, I didn't know half the time that's when somebody tells you to go relax. It's not because they want you just to go and relax. They just go, "Okay, stop what you're doing."
Right. Exactly.
Really, either
Yeah.
dismiss or stop what you're doing,
Yeah.
and that's what they're doing. So in that scenario, that's different. But if somebody doesn't know how to relax, or if somebody
Right.
doesn't know how to deal with their traumas, or if they don't know how to deal with their emotions that are coming forward, because number one, half the time we can't even name them. We're
Right.
feeling something, but we don't even know what they are. And it's a whole learning gamut. But you what I try to do is, if we're trying to do this all on your own, it takes a really long time. And so that's what I try to offer my clients, is my gifts to be able to help
Hmm.
narrow them in down, walk them through that process. And they only need to go through that process a couple of times so that now they understand how to help themselves, how to help
Hmm.
when these things come up. Because I mean, I don't expect my clients to be with me for 15 years trying to work through 50 years of um, trauma in their life, or limiting blocks. And really, it's learning to be curious. I'm a naturally curious individual. I ask questions all the time, but as you heard out in the universe all the time, it really is about, what is the question? What is the right question to ask at the right time? That's where that impact is. And we don't always know that.
Right. And when it's you don't always have that perspective to be able to see what those patterns are, and it's a lot easier. And I
Yeah.
love that there's all these modalities out here because, like you said, you could
Yeah.
spend, and mental health is counseling is wonderful, but
Yes.
quicker, a lot of times quicker, we can get to what's going on so that you have more joy in your life, so that you're not
Yes.
spending so much time feeling triggered or lower emotions going through those, so you can have more
That's
joy
right.
in your life. Yeah.
That's right. And that's the great thing too, is I'm able to, so with me being a medium, so when I meet with a client, I use my psychic abilities. I use, the guidance and everything from their soul. I basically am giving their soul, their body, a voice to share with them, because we're all unique. There is no textbook. So
Mhm.
that used to drive me crazy when I used to go to the doctors and they would say, "Oh, well, you're 40, so you're a woman. So this is the way it is. You just need to accept it." I
Mhm.
was not accepting it. I could not accept it. I knew not to accept it. But that's what I get, right? If you're looking for the external answers, you're always going to get, you're placing more value on their answers than you are placing within yourself. And so that was another big learning, is that I needed to learn to value myself and my thoughts and my knowledge and my inner knowing of what is, you know, right, wrong, and what is true for me. Because
Mhm.
we're all like little snowflakes. right?
Yeah.
We're all like those snowflakes. We're all so unique. There's not one other Charlene. Like there's a lot of other Charlene Sears in this world. There are. I couldn't believe how many have the same name as me, but they haven't had the same life as me. They haven't had the same people in my life. They haven't had the same traumas in my life, right? So we're all so unique. And what's so great is that when we're able to narrow down what is very specific to that one person, it takes off months and years of heartache. I spent 10 years or more trying to find the answers to help myself. I truly did. It spent thousands of dollars. I mentioned supplements, everything and anything. And I gave it my all, trying everything and anything and giving it the full length of time I needed to do. And no results, no change. Like excessive weight gain, excessive, um, like surgery after surgery. And I just, problem after problem, it just seemed. And my body was screaming at me, going, listen, 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 listen. So it really was something I needed to learn how to listen to. But you need to learn how to do that. It doesn't just come naturally because we have grown in this society. We were raised in this way. So now we need to awaken to a new way of understanding about who we are.
Hmm. Well, I get the feeling that you're a very safe, compassionate place for somebody who's ready to dive in to that.
Thank
I can
you.
just tell that it would be
Ah,
a wonderful place to do that. Is there
thank you.
anything we haven't touched on that you wanted to share about modalities or things that you do for people?
Um, really, I do everything. So what I do is I hold that space, that sacred space, and I use all of my gifts available to me to help that person exactly where they are at in their journey. So sometimes people come to me to starting off with going, I don't know how to make a decision. There's these big things in my life happening right now, and we go through what is the need. And sometimes some people's needs are that they need to hear from a loved one, they need some kind of closure. So every person's need coming forward is always unique and different. And I have had it where people needed to let go of past commitments
Mm,
or cut cords, past life commitments, um, these types of things, soul retrievals. So it really is like I don't go in with an agenda.
mhm,
Like when I meet somebody, I have no idea. And I literally let their soul and my team, we all work together to meet where they are right here, right now, and what they need at that very moment and provide guidance all at the same time. So somebody might say, like, the amazing thing that comes forward is that they're saying, okay, well, this is your kind of your homework. This is what you now need to work on, and this is how to do it so that it's streamlined and it's efficient. And I feel like that's some of the key pieces that are usually missing, because you could go get some healing from somebody, because that's what I do is I channel the healing at the same time. And what you can go get healing and you feel okay, that's great, but now it's like going to a massage therapist and just going for a massage and then not getting exercises for you to do and stretches for you to do after that carries you forward. Same with physiotherapy or somewhere along the line. You have to put in the work. You
mm,
have to be a person that is really who actually wants to help themselves. They
mhm,
really want to um, heal their life in every which way. It's not just healing physical body. It's healing your relationships. It's healing yourself first, and then everything around you, like this inner peace that comes forward. This natural positivity in every area of your life really just comes forward because you have done the inner work and you learn how to listen to yourself. You learn how to do your intuition. You learn how to do all of these things that promote you to have the life that you deserve. And that's the idea, is just helping other people on their journey wherever they are at that moment.
Well, it's a beautiful gift, and
Yes, thank you.
thank you for the work you're doing. If somebody
Thank
wanted
you.
to get a hold of you, should they go to your website?
Yeah, that is the best way.
Okay.
Because they can go straight there. It's not like, it gives a little bit more information of what I do, and
Mm.
it has the contact piece on there as well. Absolutely. If they have any questions, they can go there as well, and or else they can book an appointment, and we can go from there. Yep.
So I'll put your website in the description, but just verbally, it's Charlene's Sear, which
Here.
is CharleneCyr.com. So
That's right.
there
Yeah.
you go. Well, this has been wonderful. And like I said, I love seeing all these different modalities, and the more that are doing it, the quicker people can enjoy their life more.
Yeah.
So thank you
That's
once
right.
again. Appreciate it.
No, thank you, Krista. I appreciate it. It's been a joy. Thank you.
Okay.